Greetings, we are Anonymous TruthSec. You are watching from the shadows with your hosts, Enki, Fawkes and Sitting Bull. Watch as we discuss current affairs you won't see on your television. Your so-called trusted news anchors will never delve into the information we meticulously sift through each day. Please join in on the conversation. If you enjoy the show, don't forget to hit the like button and tell your friends. There are plenty more episodes you can watch with guests ranging from fellow Anons to hacking activists. We've even had a whistleblower on the show talking about targeted individuals. Please check it out. We are Anonymous. We are Legion. We can forgive. We do not forget. You should have expected us.
Bull, did you ever check that video, man? That video I linked you to that the Anon Hive just uploaded?
Part of it, yeah. That's something.
That's scary shit, man.
Yeah, I tried to watch like 10 minutes to go on it.
Yeah, it's fucked, eh? Even just the first bit.
Fuck that off.
Yeah,
You
it
reckon
is.
it's alright?
Did you watch it, Mason?
Oh, yes and no. I've got about 10 minutes out.
It's scary as fuck.
Yeah. If they got all these millions of fucking little tiny drones that can go and, you know, administer headshots to any target they want, really.
Yeah, like he full turns around and he's like, look what it does to these bad guys, and kills 4 people, and everyone's like...
Yeah, bad guys. Like, who was their judge that decided they were bad guys? So that's the my question.
Who was what? God.
Who was their judge? You know, who decided they were bad guys?
Oh,
yeah, right.
No, what's a bad guy? No one's a bad guy.
A corrupt judicial system, that's what it was.
Your phone, like, overheats or something, and it makes it cloudy. It's not, it's really cloudy.
Yeah, that's pretty scary. You know, it kind of turns on its head that old saying that guns don't kill people, people kill people. But these are weapons that make the decisions themselves.
Yeah,
that's pretty scary.
And all they need is that target to be programmed, and they'll all think themselves and cooperate with themselves how to, you know, best maneuver around others. You know, I was watching a video that had this scenario. It was obviously staged or whatever, and this guy was just standing there with just a cut, and he's like, they weren't interested in me. They just left me and they went for everyone else, you know, like...
I just went and saved everyone.
So they can just have these programmed targets, right? And they can go and kill them and no one else. Do you know what I mean? Even if you're in a tight room together.
Yeah.
I'm just
yeah, that's pretty scary shit right there. And it, you know, kind of fits in with, we're doing this on artificial intelligence, and those things really fit in with it, you know? I mean, we're talking about basically they're little robots.
That's exactly what they are. That's exactly what they are, little robots, man. And
robots, I mean, the future doesn't look so good for those, you know, these artificial intelligence robots. They're going to learn eventually. They have access to a cloud, and they all put all their information there, and they share the information. So what one learns, all the other ones know.
It's through blockchaining. It's through blockchaining. As soon as they can spread through different systems and computers, it's called blockchaining. And they can use that, and it's like infinite brain power, in a sense. They can connect all these neurons together all over the world.
And, you know, Facebook had 2 artificial intelligence bots. And this was like a year ago. And they had to shut them down because they discovered they were writing code themselves. They were programming themselves.
Same with Facebook,
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty scary.
They created their own language and everything, man.
And, you know, I was watching a video the other night on this, and they talk about how eventually these things are going to reach what they call singularity. And when they do, then what? I mean, they're talking about robots where you could actually have a relationship with them, an intimate relationship with a robot. Yes. What the fuck?
Look at Sophia. What just happened in Saudi Arabia?
Yeah, I heard they beheaded her.
I don't know if that's true. That's not true.
I think that's I think that's a joke.
Really young.
This mask, dude. These masks, they get hot under them, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
You got to suffer for fashion, bro.
You realize that you have bad breath too.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's bad.
Oh shit.
So, I want to organize a massive, big event, man, to make us stand for something, not just a little putty event. I want fucking fireworks there. I want fucking everything there.
Mason. Enki.
What?
You'd have to you know what you could do, man? Just set up all that shit with fireworks and all that shit and go down to Rozzy Park and just let them off and shit, to try and draw people over. And then once people get over there, you could just be standing on this fucking stage with a megaphone and these fucking TVs and shit behind you with visuals, just talking about everything that's really going on, man.
Yeah.
Once people start doing that shit, that's when people will start really listening, man. Putting real hardcore effort into it.
Well, that's why I just wanted to get a whole heap of this, man, and just fucking walk down the street and just block off the traffic and everything, man. Without warning, without nothing, just fucking rock up there, man, and just go nuts.
You need heaps, bro. You'd need a lot of people. It could be done. It could easily be done.
That's
It'd
right.
be fucking awesome.
So you're talking about civil disobedience type of thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mixed with mass civil enlightenment.
Yeah, there you go. So, well,
that would be the goal.
Some of their laws are stupid, so some of them are just made to be broke.
Oh, well, I think every law is made to be broken. Who in the right mind gives them the power to make the law? We should all have our own law and one law.
It's not even that.
Yeah.
A lot of the laws are made, the laws are made as such so that they're impossible to not be broken a lot of the time, in the real world. So they make it hard for people to live a simple life and not break a fucking law. So, it's all revenue based and it's disgusting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Someone with yeah, go, Bull.
So what do you, what's that?
It's your turn, Bull.
It's my turn. I want to ask you guys what you think about that plane crashing into that helicopter over Rothschild's home. Or castle, whatever you want to call it. What do you think?
I haven't had a chance to look into it too much, but I've skimmed the surface of it. And well,
there's not really a lot to learn, really. Yet not a lot of information available on it.
Right. All we know is that it's said that Rothschild could have been amongst people that deceased in a crash that happened in restricted airspace, which was near his castle, wasn't it? His property.
Bullshit.
My understanding is they crashed over his castle, but they landed. They hit the ground. They weren't on the ground. No.
Right. So apparently,
very nearby.
Right. So apparently, a plane crashed into the helicopter, and people are speculating that he could have been involved because it was restricted airspace.
Well, first came out, they said there were 2 people in each aircraft, but they've corrected that. There were 2 passengers in the helicopter and a pilot, and then the Cessna had just 1 person in it, which is what you would expect if somebody was going to do a suicide attack on him. They would be alone.
I'm sure there'd be plenty of people all over the world that would stick their hands straight up, man. Honestly, if I could fly a plane, I'd be one of them, bro.
Well, yeah, I agree. There's tons of people in the world that want him done, and it's not really that out there to think that somebody might have tried, and somebody might even have actually succeeded at it.
The thing is, dude, I think it's a little impractical unless he has gone into hiding, because I've seen videos of him walking around in the public, dude. Just not giving a fuck. So what's to stop someone from just running up and shanking him, or just popping him there? None.
Well, I'm sure he's got. You got $500 trillion. You can afford all kinds of security. The guy runs the CIA. He runs you know, he runs the Mossad. He runs all of those intelligence agencies. They do his bidding. So,
All right, guys.
yeah, he could have some pretty damn good protection.
Yeah, of course. Everywhere he walks, there's probably snipers up on the buildings, just keeping an eye on everything. I'm not saying there's not, but that's not. Someone could easily just snipe him off there and then. You know what I mean? It wouldn't be hard if they know he's going to be flying in a helicopter at a certain time. Then they'd have to know where he's going to be, on the ground at a certain time. Also, like, how can you just know one and not the other?
Yeah,
I've done a little bit of research on it. I mean, there are no facts really yet. But one thing I find real peculiar is it's been 36 hours since the crash, and they haven't released the names of the dead. How come?
Well,
that's plenty of time.
Right, and I kind of agree with you there, considering even take for instance the Las Vegas shooting that happened. They were releasing names, man, after a few fucking hours.
Yeah, on 9/11 they released the names of all 19 hijackers the first day.
Right, and that was a way tough. Whoa. Yeah, no, that was a way bigger case, man. So it just makes you wonder why they not, maybe something is going on.
Well, that's possible. I mean, several things that I found out.
If something like this, I just want to say, if something like this did happen, man, then it would have been completely unforeseen, so they wouldn't have a plan for it.
Right. And so they'd take them a while before they could announce that he was dead. They'd have to get a lot of things in place. And, it seems like that's what the delay could be. Another thing is that that's not his home, actually. It's his weekend home. And I think that's significant because this happened on Friday, the beginning of the weekend. So,
what I only bring about it now.
So, huh?
You say it happened on Friday, but people are only just hearing about it now.
Well, I heard about it last night.
Oh, okay.
But it happened midday yesterday.
Talking about.
So, it could be.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. I haven't heard about this accident.
I'll send you a picture right now. I'll send you a couple of pictures. It'll just give you a brief outline, man. I'll text it to you.
Yeah, awesome.
The first reports of it said that Jacob Rothschild was feared dead. So
yeah,
I'm not afraid of him being dead. I kind of hope he is, but
yeah, man. I hope Rochester's die. They all run this planet, man. They're the fucking dogs of the world.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah,
exactly. I mean, how many people are starving to death because he thinks he has to have $500 trillion?
Yeah, but it's not just him. It's the whole lot of them are the same.
Yeah, all the elites they think they're better than everyone else. That's why they have the master plan to eliminate all of us.
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's why there's so many 1%ers that they, like, for an example, fucking Bush, man, right? He's multi-billionaire, but he's come bankruptcy once or twice in his life. But yet he's still the fucking president of the United States, like. And he reckons he gives all this money to the fucking homeless and whatnot. Where there's no proof of him giving no money to any charity,
Yeah.
I'll send you those photos, Mason.
Which one who you talking about? You talking about Trump?
Is it Trump? Yeah. Who's the one now?
Oh, Trump. Yeah, Trump.
Yeah. Trump's done a lot, man. Trump's done a lot behind the scenes, dude. If you actually look into it, he's actually doing a lot, bro. But he's working silently because you got to strike fast, man, like a lightning bolt when you're dealing with 60 years of fucking corruption, at least.
Yeah, and they're saying he's about to take down the deep state, but I don't know how possible that is at this point. I really don't. I mean, they're so entrenched.
Have you seen the recent photos of and interviews that leaked, or not leaked, but interviews of Hillary Clinton and John McCain, and they're both wearing matching anklet, like braces, like they both
Oh, you
injured
mean
themselves. And
you mean John Podesta?
there's talks that they've already been indicted or whatever, and they're wearing tracking, ankle bracelets.
You're talking about John Podesta, aren't you?
Yeah, Pizzagate, bro.
Yeah, Skippy. Yeah.
Yeah,
That guy's a dirtbag piece of shit.
yeah, man.
So.
Yeah. And they're the kind of cunts that if the people got to actually decide what actually happened to people, they would be burnt at the stake, man, for sure. And they deserve it. They're
They
monsters.
would. Yeah. I mean, if you ever feel like you're stupid, just try to remember that almost half the people out there voted for Hillary for president. You can't be that stupid. I mean, come on.
Right.
So.
It scares me still that there's so many, like, I was talking today, I can't remember who, like, just how stupid everyone is, and it just shits me because I'm stupid as well, man. Like, I know I am, I wish I was smart, but, let's be real, in my life I've failed at almost everything, and it was just due to a willingness to not want to fail. I was I had that ego in me, and it took me a long time to get that out of myself,
Yeah.
And, society... And I put that down to basically what society pushes on people to be like. Do you know what I mean? Even if you don't necessarily fit into that, they make you do that. And if you can't, then you're fucked and you fail at life. Basically. And it's wrong because we should be kind of wanting to provoke creative thought, and more intuitive thought rather than just shitty academic shit that was made to boost the industrialist age. That's just not even applicable anymore, man. It's just fucking lost. They've just got us all in little farms, man. That's what countries are.
Yeah, basically. I mean, what do we need borders for? I mean, isn't that what most wars are over? Is borders?
Well, dude, if you have a look at how much they spent on World War II. That alone could have provided for every single fucking human need on the planet. Every single individual person. On the whole planet.
Yeah, we could cut military budgets worldwide by 10%. I mean, you could still have your wars. 10% is not that big of a cut. You could take that 10% and feed all of the hungry people in the world.
Yeah.
10% cut.
It's bullshit. And then they talk about these trillions of dollars that are missing. And then people just forget about it. It's like this is the biggest mob, man, in the world. And they're so gangster, bro, that they can get away with stealing trillions of dollars from everyone. And all they have to do is admit that they did it. Yeah, we did it. We fucking did it. And then everyone just forgets.
That's what they're doing. And now they'll be like, now we're going to tax you all. Now you're going to pay double tax because we spent all this money. And now you pull back have to pay for it.
Exactly.
Yeah, we have to pull the tiny dots on them there,
Yeah. It's all
you ever seen that video?
Man, I was
even
even...
tiny dots video? That's pretty good.
What?
The tiny dots video.
No, man, I'll have to check it out.
So I posted it a couple of times on TruthSec. It's pretty good. It has a map and it shows all these dots and then these tiny little dots over here. And the difference is all the dots all over the map are the people. And then the little tiny dots, it's a mathematical accurate representation of all the politicians and all the elected officials and the IRS and shit. I mean, these guys, it's not even 1%, And they're telling everybody what to do. We got to pay taxes and this and that shit.
All right, guys, just hold up. Just hold up for a sec, man. If I may just interrupt you just for a second. Jesse, are you there, dude?
Yeah.
What, you want to introduce yourself, man?
Yeah, just hold on a sec. Laptop's a bit fucked up.
You're alright, dude. I just didn't get a chance to say it before, but yeah, we've got another guest joining us. And this is just kind of random still at the moment. But we welcome anyone on this show, man.
Oh god, this laptop is absolutely retarded.
No, you're alright, man.
Alright, so I'm from Melbourne, same as these two.
What up, Jesse?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, brother.
And I'm like 13. So
Jesse's
got
going
it,
to be the future of Anonymous. He's the one that's going to take it from us. He's the one that's going to lead our future for our kids.
He's going to be a leader?
yeah, man.
No, he's going to be.
Shut up, Mike.
There's no
I'm
leaders
just
here,
fucking,
man. There's
Yeah,
no
no,
leaders.
I'm just fucking with Mason.
I say that all the time. And I want to express that. Like, there's no leaders, man, in Anonymous.
yeah, I know. I've
Right.
seen shit. There's that fucking dude with the fucking wig and shit getting called out. There's no fucking leaders, I know. I thought you were talking about something else for a second.
Oh, man, you're...
Um,
Oh, you got to come.
Fucking hell, Mason.
I'm fucking just choking. What?
Oh, cool.
What do you want?
Wait up. I want to play that fucking video, man. Just like a bit of it.
Customer pilots directed almost 3,000 precision strikes last year. We're super proud of it. It allows you to separate the bad guys from the good. It's a big deal. But we have something much bigger. Your kids probably have one of these, right? Not quite. Hell of a pilot? No. That skill is all AI. It's flying itself. Its processor can react 100 times faster than a human. The stochastic motion is an anti-sniper feature. Just like any mobile device these days, it has cameras and sensors, and just like your phones and social media apps, it does facial recognition. Inside here is 3 grams of shaped explosive. This is how it works. Did you see that? That little bang is enough to penetrate the skull and destroy the contents. They used to say guns don't kill people, people do. Well, people don't. They get emotional, disobey orders, aim high. Let's watch the weapons make the decisions. Now, trust me, these were all bad guys. Now that is an airstrike of surgical precision. It's one of a range of products. Trained as a team, they can penetrate buildings, cars, trains, evade people, bullets, pretty much any countermeasure. They cannot be stopped.
Can you hear me? Oliver, can you hear me? Listen to me.
Can you hear me?
Yes, it's close.
AI drones, you know. They're like the size of a fucking insect almost, man.
Yeah, man. No, I said that before. I watched some of that before. I got like 10 minutes left of it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm gonna tuck it in the video, man, so that people can see bits of it, because it's fucked up.
Oh, is that
Yeah, it
shit real, though? Or is it just a making of shit?
No,
they,
dude,
they really got that shit.
yeah.
Yeah, they really got that.
I could reproduce, you know, tech not that good, but, you know, we've already got the apparatuses to make it. We just, you know, all you need is a fucking AI coding genius or something to put together a mad code. And it can fucking fly around and do all this shit. You know, I can't do that shit, but I know that people...
Yeah. It's amazing what the CIA and what the Australian government and everything, what they're hiding from the public, man.
I mean,
It's
that's
amazing
I saw some
It's
drone.
like,
You know what? You could take and you could imagine the worst possible that they could have done, and you wouldn't even be close. They've done worse.
Yeah.
You can't even
Yeah.
imagine it.
it's like I was
Yeah.
playing, I was playing Call of Duty the other day. I think no, Call of Duty, and I was looking at some of the. It's not all in the game. They might think it's in the game, but like I reckon they got that shit for real.
What's going on?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Wait, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Yeah, the video and everything was fucking up for me there for a bit.
You like midget porn?
I didn't hear anything that you guys were talking about before, man, because the video was fucking up and I was trying to deal with that.
Well, we were talking about you, man.
Oh, what?
What happened?
No, we wasn't.
You guys
I'm
there?
just fucking with
Yeah, man.
you. Yeah.
That's alright.
You guys there? Hello? Hello? Hello?
You can't.
Yeah, this one's back. Hey, do I have bookers?
Yep. Fucking heaps. Nah, but seriously though, we were meant to have Ethan on the show as well, but he couldn't make it. Jesse, man, what are you into, dude? Like, what drew you to Anonymous?
Oh, fucking, I'm like against the corrupt governments and shit, and fucking legalization of marijuana, fucking exposing like racists and rapists and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, good deal.
Yeah. So that's pretty cool. That's a good reason to join because and there's a lot of people out there, man, thinking the same, and we just want to fucking wake people up, you know, to it all.
Exactly, and for someone who's like 13, it's pretty weird seeing me, of all kinds of people.
Yeah, no, I commend you, man. Commend you, because you're smarter than most adults, dude, already. Like, that's obvious, dude.
You're
How
13,
old are you?
You're waking up to the world. You're 13 and you already know how fucked this system is, man. Like, what's that?
Yeah.
See, that's why I joined. I could see the world was all fucked up, and Anonymous was the only one I could see that was trying to do anything about it.
Yeah, Bull, it was 9/11 that woke you the fuck up the most, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
And rightly so, man.
That, and then I started looking at JFK Assassination, and I realized it was as much bullshit as 9/11 was.
Yeah, well, did you notice the change in that, man? In the 9/11 shit, in the JFK assassination? Because I remember it always being a four-door car, now it's like a fucking six-door or fucking six-seater.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's I remember it being different than what it is. So I don't know. And I see things all the time on these YouTube videos that I didn't see before. So I don't know how real those damn things are. I mean, the technology they have, they can make that shit up now. I mean, they got Jackie shooting them, the driver.
I was referring to the suggested Mandela effect. That was that the JFK assassination had somehow changed, from what it was in its reality somehow. But yeah. Anyway, fuck that. I don't want to talk about that shit anyway. There's way more real fucking issues and problems going on in the world right now. Anyway.
One thing I'm real concerned about right now is this AI stuff because I could see this getting way out of hand real fast. You've got machines that are going to soon be smarter than people and able to learn at an unprecedented rate that people just aren't capable of.
I was genuinely wondering earlier if they'd seen the movie Terminator.
Yeah.
Like that's it. Like if you look at all the things that Google are doing, wouldn't you say that they're basically the foundation of what Skynet was in that fucking movie?
Pretty much.
Like, let's be real. Like that's honestly what they're trying to aspire to have. is an autonomous like military response system to any threat. You know, that's what they're trying to do. And Google's trying to gather up all this data so that their AI can learn faster. Basically, their AI is learning off all of us every second of every day.
Yeah.
It's scary.
So that's kind of an amazing thing, because the speed of the speed that things take place is really an issue. I mean, when they had the telephone, it took 75 years for 15 million people to have 15 million users of the telephone. Then they had the internet.
I'm running out of weed.
And then they had the internet, right? And to get 15 million users, it only took 15 years for them to do it, right?
The internet is the phone of the future.
And then you have Facebook, right? Facebook, to get 15 million users, took them 2.5 years. And then you have Snapchat. It took them like 15 months to get. Then you have the Angry Birds. It took them 15 days. And that's a good analogy for the way technology is going. I mean, my grandpa, he died a few years back. He was 92 years old. So he saw the time when there was no cars on the road, and then in the same lifetime, he saw airplanes and the space shuttle,
right,
and shit like that, computers, all that. I mean, imagine the difference. And in our lifetime, it's going to change even more.
Yeah. Well, in our lifetime, we're seeing the development of handheld technology and computers downsizing, and what even that allows them to do is have these fucking little insect AI drones. You know what I mean? And they've been working for that for a long, long time.
Yeah, I mean, those insects, they're a trip. They look like real. Some of them look like real insects.
Yeah, man. It's creepy, and especially knowing that, like, what could you do to defend yourself other than, like, maybe cover your house, or probably in an electrified sheet of metal, to zap all these.
Yeah, you'd have to crawl. Yeah, you'd have to crawl in a hole somewhere to protect yourself, and even that's not a guarantee, right?
It's worse. It's worse than people predicted in movies and shit. It's fucking worse, man.
Oh yeah.
And way sooner than anyone thought.
And it's just it's happening. It's all happening at once, man. It's way sooner than people thought it would be. Like we saw it. We all saw it coming, but not. It's almost like to me, it seems like all this shit's kind of been there for a while, and they're just kind of like choosing how and when to tell us different things. It's like they've always fucking had this shit almost. It's just trippy.
Like, honestly, people weren't expecting it until at least 2030, 2025. Like, expecting to see any of it.
Well, yeah, I guess around it's all happening just faster than I thought it would anyway. That's just my own personal opinion.
My eyes only opened 4 months ago, and it's already happened way sooner than I thought.
Yeah. Yeah.
They say that the robots. They say that those robots. They said it would take like 15 years for them to get to the point where they were actually have more intelligence than a human being does. But some of the experts say no, it's only going to take 3 to 5 years. Average of 4 years for them to actually become more intelligent than a human.
Sorry.
And when they're smarter, then what are they going to want to do with that?
Yeah. Exactly. And they didn't. I don't think they really they tried to predict all this shit, but they didn't foresee the cumulative effect of the AI, getting smarter as rapidly as it does.
Yeah. And what's it? Yeah, you're exactly right there. The cumulative effect. I mean, what is the cumulative effect going to be? We really don't know. We have all these like science fiction movies and stuff that show where they get smart and take over everything, right? But
if you give an AI software program the unlimitability of expansion at a rate that you leave up to it, like it can do it it can replicate itself and expand as much as it wants, as fast as it wants. Really, it's just up to it. And like when you do that, there's no predictability in how fast that's gonna, excel, or you know what I'm saying.
Exactly. There's like millions of variables. So
yeah, they're just basically just like swinging in the wind. They're just seeing how it goes. I guess.
They're just doing what they do, and they're trying to do as good as they can to beat out, because they have to have a better mousetrap. And so,
Jesse mentioned, he's against government corruption, all that kind of stuff before. Like, and you can expand that to, a local aspect, a global aspect. Like, that the whole world is run by these elitist bankers, right, who have just taken claim to the world by basically printing money out of thin air, man. It's all dead. But like, I was just gonna ask you, Jesse, man, like, what are you against specifically? Is it just like the outlaw of marijuana, like that is beneficial and all that kind of stuff? And
mainly stuff like enforcing new laws and making these like false flag terror attacks and like paying the news to tell lies to us and shit like that, and just lying in general, shit like that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and we all know that all mainstream media is owned by, what is it, like 6 corporations.
Exactly.
And all their money funnels up to the same people all the fucking time, dude.
Mm. And Mason, the interview's up right now, just saying.
Oh, is it, brother? Man.
I'll send you the link later.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Make sure you
send
record
us
this.
Send us the link as well, man. We'll chuck it up on the fucking page.
Yeah, well, the editing kind of fucked up, so it was like messed up in the middle of the video, so like it was a bit fucked up.
Enki, he's the one that does all our editing and all our videos, man. He's the computer.
Yeah, on the TruthSec, yeah.
It's just time consuming, man. I've just got a lot of time to kill right now. That's all it is.
Yeah.
You smoke weed every day.
I do it. I've always wanted to do it. Now that I have the free time, I'm doing it. So, because I've always wanted to kind of share what I understand about the world in a way that I understand, the best. And that's videos and fucking graphics and
a lot of people don't like to read. A lot of people don't like to read. They like to see stuff on a video,
I don't mind reading myself, but I just, this day and age, it's so easy to get information from YouTube. You need to know discernment. And that's a big one. You need to basically have scientific, I reckon there should be a class in every fucking school that literally teaches people real science. Because what is science other than the applicability of reasoning, to determine what's real and what isn't and what's bullshit and someone's feeding you bullshit. It's a discernment to see if it's real or not, basically.
Yeah, the field of science, it's like the mainstream media kind of, I mean, there's so much politics involved in it, and you have so much.
You have the main scientific community, like the mainstream scientific community, but then you also have independent scientists, right? And they're all pretty clued in, man. I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos about people that don't even get many views, man, but their experiments work, and they've managed to reproduce plasmid expansion through regenerative power, basically. That's what they're doing. They're feeding a single. It doesn't even have to be much of a source. You could feed it from the RF signals in the air, and then it just duplicates and amps it up and amps it up through plasma.
Check it out. Yeah.
That's a good hit.
Hey, do you mix tobacco with your weed?
No.
Really?
I tried doing that the other day, but it didn't work.
I smoke cigarettes, but I don't mix it. No.
Yeah. So everyone here, well, in Victoria, where we're from, they all mix cigarettes with their weed there.
Yeah, I knew another guy from Australia. He did that too. But, I like the taste of the good weed. So
Well, we don't have, well, we
cigarette.
got good weed here, but like we got our weed nothing compared to you.
Yeah, we've got the
Yeah,
shittest bushy, dirty weed.
So you guys
Yeah.
have all names for your weed. You got like purple haze and peanut butter slice or something like that.
yeah,
Pineapple espresso.
We got one
Yeah.
weed man, like bush bud or hydro. But you can tell it's fucking banana kush or something, and they'll love it.
I've had some that I got at the dispensary that tested at 24% THC.
Oh, nice. Have you had moon rocks before?
I haven't had moon rocks now.
I've had moon rocks once, and they were amazing.
Yeah.
You get into your dad,
You what?
your oils.
I'd like to, but I haven't got into a lot of that.
Yeah, oils are good. Do you like your eatables?
I've tried a couple of those. They're all right.
Yeah.
I'm an old fashioned kind of guy. I'd like to smoke a joint, you know.
Best hot brownies, by the way.
Smoke a joint.
Basically, maybe before
Apparently, if you ingest THC rather than smoke it, it has like a duplicate effect. Like it goes into some part of your body or something, and it becomes something else, and it almost intensifies.
Yeah,
What was that?
like try eating about a joint's worth of weed when you go to bed, and see how you feel when you wake up the next day. It's a trip.
Yeah, true.
I would try that.
I'm gonna try it.
We got Dissonance.
Let us know how it goes.
That's nice.
So what do you want to talk about?
Fuck
Yeah.
fun.
Smoke weed every day.
Every day I smoke weed.
No, hey, well, so here in Victoria, they just legalised gay marriage. Do you have gay
They
marriage?
legalize what? They
Gay
legalize
marriage.
what?
Gay marriage.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they did
These
that
are-
here a long time ago.
Oh yeah. Two of my
Yeah, see,
friends.
they've just legalised it here in Victoria
Last couple of days ago.
or Australia.
They did it for like 8 years.
Yeah.
I'm
I
all
don't
about.
agree with. Yeah.
I'm all about.
I think there's got to be.
If they want to be dumb enough to get married as well, then that's cool.
Yeah, but to make it mainstream, I don't agree with that. They have a right to do whatever they want, you know. And so, I'll probably tell somebody what the Bible says about it. But, I'm not going to keep the truth. I'm not going to, sugarcoat it or nothing like that. But that's not for me to decide.
The Bible is,
And yeah.
it's just a means of control. That's all the Bible is, man.
Yeah.
Well, no,
that's-
it's been used as that. It's been used as that. But that doesn't make it all it is. I mean,
You got to look at
still.
You got to look at everything that the Bible comes from.
A piece of paper.
Okay?
Well, I think you have to look at it objectively. If you look at it objectively, I will say that that the Bible says that's a sin, but it's not the only sin, right? So what am I going to do? Am I going to judge that person because they sin different than I do? Because we all sin, right?
I can write a Bible and we can all stand by it. It'd be all about weed, though.
Well, I think weed's in the Bible, but
It is. It's just called something else. And you got to look at when
Right.
Jesus was anointing his disciples. He was using weed. That's what it was.
well, it was oil. They've translated it olive oil, but that doesn't mean that's what it was.
It was hemp oil, man. We all know that that's what it was.
They use it to cure diseases with what they anointed with. They use that to treat diseases. So olive oil wouldn't treat diseases very well.
Right.
Everybody got quiet all of a sudden. What happened?
Oh,
I don't even
sorry, I
know.
was.
I know why Mason's quiet. He's getting high.
I'm just quiet because I'm not really used to doing this shit.
Yeah, no, that's alright, man. I'm not either,
Well,
dude.
it's good to meet you.
Yeah.
You too, man. I mean, I've seen you on the TruthSec shit.
Bull's a legend. Bull is a legend, man.
Well,
You know,
I don't know about legend. I don't know about that.
I hold you up to a pedestal, Bull.
Some people say I'm a legend in my own mind, but you know.
I've been stirring up the people on that Telegram site. You know, car bitches don't fuck me up on TruthSec now, bitch. Like, I'll delete you. Like, I'm just gonna delete you, TruthSec. I won't really delete you. Don't piss me off.
My internet's dropping again.
The internet.
Gotcha.
Oh, that's good.
TruthSec's where it's at, man. TruthSec is where it's at. It's the community for every anon to come together, dude, and share the truth that they know and that they're passionate about. That's what it is.
I still got the messages and everything day when you started TruthSec Enki.
Yeah.
I still got it all from day one when you started TruthSec.
Sorry, man, I can't hear. What'd you say, bro?
I still got all your messages from day one from starting TruthSec.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was trying to bring you on board. I was trying to bring you on board all the way back then, yeah?
Yeah, fuck yeah. Yeah.
I tell you that, what the TruthSec, I was there from the beginning, you know, and he just asked me if I go on the page and like click all the likes to my, you know, invite all my friends to like it, stuff like that. But I mean, I wanted to help out with it because I liked the idea he had, and we started working our ass off, and I mean, there were a lot of people that have worked on it, but very few that work as hard as him and I have, and. I mean, we turned that page into something. We got 500 likes the first week.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That's it. Yeah, it was. And we're just about to 5,000 now. So we'd be a lot farther than that, but we laid off of it for a while. The page sat there dormant for a few months.
Yeah, so we were both dealing with our own shit, and yeah, it just kind of went by the wayside, I suppose, for a little bit there.
That page is amazing. That page is an amazing page. It really is.
Yeah.
We're not quite to 5,000 followers yet, and we've had posts that have had 50, 70,000 views.
Yeah. That's pretty impressive, man, with only 5,000 followers. Like, the page has the potential to be huge. And, you know, that's what it is. It's for the community. We're inviting everyone on board. You know, if you want to come on board and be a part of it, then just all you have to do is message.
You don't even have.
Well, it's not just that. I mean, it's not just that, Enki. I mean, everybody who's a follower is a part of the page because of the way they share our posts. You know, I mean, that's why they get seen so much. That's why we get so many views. Is because a lot of our followers share a lot of our posts.
No, you're right. The followers are very much a part of the essence that is the page. Like, without the followers, then the page it'd just be nothing, obviously.
Yes, just be a couple of guys' opinions, you know.
I mean, I'm gonna go fucking share shit right now because I feel like it.
At least we're all trying to get our message out. At least people are seeing that what we're doing, we're not doing it for nothing. We're just opening up other people's eyes, you know. At least other people see our shit and come aboard. You know, at least we're slowly. It's not going as fast as we would like it to go, but at least it's slowly coming along, you know. It all takes time for it to kick into gear.
Yeah, and right, and I it doesn't even have to be TruthSec. I look at some big pages and channels and shit that are trying to get the truth out, man, and it just, man, it honestly just brings me joy because it's like, fuck yeah, like there's all these people out there that aren't, you know, asleep. You know, it's just a good feeling.
Right. Yeah. And you know, in the years I've been doing all this, I've seen, you know, we used to talk about, you know, we got to wake everybody up. We got to wake everybody up. But you know what? Most people, they're awake. Some people might not admit they are, but I mean, you're brain dead if you don't see that there's something wrong with this world. You know,
most people are
you have to see it. You might not admit it, but you have to see it.
They're too scared to say they're awake. Sorry, Enki. The people are too scared. They're too scared of their government to say they're awake. If they say they're awake, they're scared that something's going to happen to them. You know.
Well, no, it's not even that. It's not even that. A lot of the time, it's for noble causes. They think that they have to conform to this society for their family, you know, and their kids, but like they don't realize that they still have a voice. They can still go and work for themselves and go and earn money for themselves and their family, but they can still have a fucking voice, man. And that's what a lot of people just forget and don't even think about.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm right on the same page.
That's true. That's true. And there's also something called cognitive dissonance. You know, it's a recognized mental condition. And it doesn't mean you're crazy, but people, they get two conflicting things inside of them. They get what they've been told all their life, which is bullshit, and they have that ingrained in them, deeply ingrained. And then, like in my case, if something came along like 9/11, and I thought all those guys were crazy. All these guys, these truthers that were, you know, they call conspiracy theorists. I thought they were crazy myself. I really did. And it took me a while, but I kept seeing these things that just didn't make sense, you know. And there's two ways you can react when you have those kind of things. You have two conflicting ideas inside of you, and you can't keep them both. One has to go out the window. Is it going to be what you held on to all your life, that your entire family and your support network has that same view in them? Or are you going to look at the truth and accept the truth? You know, it's hard. Some people just have a really hard time deciding.
Right.
So.
And like, I remember, I don't know, it was a few months ago, Bull, like 6 to 8 months ago. You sent me this stuff saying that 9/11 or whatever, they were like missiles, like missile or bomb heads or something. Yeah. So I just want to ask you, what do you believe it was now? Do you still think it was that, or you just unsure because all the theories are so fucking believable? Like,
well, I think that I think there was more than one thing that happened that day, but they weren't planes that hit the building. I don't think that happened. I think that was bullshit that the, you know, Hollywood technology brought us that.
Hang on, I'm not saying I disagree with you at all, but have you seen those videos come out afterwards from people that were up in you know, apartment buildings near it, and even though they like captured the immediate aftermath of the other plane crashing into it, and they were like, oh, another plane crashed into it, they didn't actually capture it on film. Do you think that's just another fucking dodgy, you know? And then they run to the elevator and they're all scared like teenagers. Have you seen that?
The only ones that caught it on camera were the ones that put it on camera. You know what I mean? I mean, there were no planes flying into the building to film.
Yeah, and I saw every mainstream media outlet that was filming live, they ducked their cameras down every time a supposed plane crashed because, well, the theory is it was easier to edit a plane in, you know what I mean, than capture one, you know, without a plane or whatever, or some shit. I don't know. It's just there's a lot of when you look into it, you know, even just on a skim the surface basis, you know, there's bullshit going on with that. Like that, it's as simple. There's some bullshit going on. Am I gonna say that it was completely the government? I have before, you know, but like I'm still on the fence a little bit because as much as I know it couldn't be terrorists or whatever in in the desert with fucking walkie-talkies and a laptop, you know, I know you know, I'm not that dumb, but I can't wrap my head around it being the government in a sense. I think it was almost even above the government, if that makes sense.
It was, yeah. You're exactly right. It was above the government. I mean, the president, you think he's the most powerful person, but he's not. He's not by any means the most powerful person.
He's down here. The president's
I know.
down here, man. The president's
Sorry?
doing shit, man. He's way down here.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. He couldn't do it. And for one thing, you got all these things on the back of our money, right? And you fold them just a certain way, and you can see the Twin Towers falling and shit like that. The president couldn't put that there.
Right.
You know, somebody. It would have to be somebody who's the owner of the Federal Reserve that put that there.
Sure.
It would have to be.
Have you seen how you?
Have
you seen how you can fold it and you can see a full alien head?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of shit on those. I mean,
it's crazy.
Some of it's happened, and some of them hasn't happened yet. So, yeah. That big dam in China that they built, a huge dam, that thing's gonna break. According to the money, the pictures of it breaking are on the money.
See, and have you guys seen, there was a thing, like, 9 months before 9/11 even happened, there was a mini TV series about, like, conspiracy theories and shit, and they came up with one that a plane was going to crash into the Twin Towers, and it was planned by the government. And I've only seen, like, little snippets of it, but, I mean, it's pretty fucking weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they started exercising plans, and like to fight against that, and they were prepared for that. They've been prepared for that for a long time. So it just makes you wonder why no jets were scrambled or no one responded for what was it, like an hour and a half, 2 hours or something, while these aircrafts all just went fucking haywire.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah, and that's bullshit, because that right there is proof of their involvement, at least. The government. They had to be involved. Because, and when they brought that to the attention of the president, you hear what he answered. He said, "Well, nobody expected that planes were going to fly into the building." Bullshit. They did too. They trained for it.
Right. And dude, did you hear about the dude in Melbourne? He had a drone up in the sky, man, a little bit too high, and within a few hours he had to find a fucking it was thousands or hundred thousands or some shit. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way you could fly fucking, passenger airline jets or planes around the place for an hour and a half, 2 hours without no one responding. There's just no way that could ever possibly happen.
Unless somebody is making it happen.
Exactly.
And Cheney was at NORAD that day, and he was making it happen. He was telling them, stand down.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and there's a reason for that. So...
Right,
but you said something about the guys with a laptop.
Necessarily the government, the public government that we see, but it was an inside job.
Oh, it was definitely inside an inside job, and part of the government was involved. Some parts weren't.
Right,
and it was Mossad, CIA. So those people were more instrumental in it than the government was. And the reason is because it's a chain of command. And at the top, you got these guys pulling the strings, Yeah. These guys like Jacob Rothschild and David Rockefeller, ones like that, they're the ones pulling the strings. They have the power to pull something like that off.
Right, and the public faces are more or less the puppets.
Right. But you said something a few minutes ago. You said that, like, the guys with walkie-talkies and a laptop in a cave in Afghanistan. That brings up a pretty good argument there. These guys are supposedly attacked the most defended building in the world.
Right.
And no cameras caught it. None of their cameras were working that day. Bullshit. I mean, somebody'd be court-martialed and hung if they got attacked and none of the cameras were working.
I mean, that's not.
But I'll tell you something even better. You could take the best pilot out there and his choice of any aircraft that exists.
Yeah.
And never mind the so many degree corkscrew turn, the descent and all that shit, and hitting the building exactly where. Never mind all that shit. You just fly off a course in Washington, D.C., and see if you can make it to the Pentagon.
That's another thing with the Pentagon.
Hold up, guys, 1 second. Didn't someone literally run into the White House? Like, someone literally just managed to just run into the White House, and, like, they didn't even gun him down. He just pushed it past some chick that was guarding the White House. He's just like, and then just, like, kept running in and shit. Like, wouldn't you want it? Like, you would have to have a death wish to do that, but he did not get killed, right? He didn't get shot on sight. They arrested him and shit. He was caught a week prior with a fucking car full of guns by the police. A fucking map, man, with the White House drawn on it and shit. You know, he was obviously going to do some damage. And they let him go. And then he went and did this shit. And, like, so it makes you wonder, what kind of security do they really have, like, guarding it? You think they've got all this shit, you know, cameras everywhere. But this guy literally managed to just walk into the gate and then just fucking, like, run into the fucking front door and just run through the fucking White House, man.
Yeah, see, but it's not just a matter of what you can defend or what you can do, all that. That's kind of hype or you know, bluffing, basically. The reason people don't attack the United States very much is because they know that the people that run the United States are a bunch of dirty bastards that'll fucking get you. You know, it's like a mob or whatever. You know, nobody fucks with the mafia either, right?
Yeah.
Because if you do, you're fucked.
Yeah.
What
was that, bro?
You don't fuck with Meso either.
Yeah. No, but, like, I was meaning to ask you, Paul, man, did you follow up on the Las Vegas case? Because it reminds me of how, like, you know, the dude that was the suspect or whatever managed to carry up all that weaponry and shit without being captured on any camera, you know, even though it was a fucking Las Vegas casino, which is...
Exactly, it's a fucking hotel. There's got to be fucking security cameras and that shit.
Right.
Yeah, their cameras didn't work that day either.
Oh, that's bullshit.
You can't count cards in there without getting caught by the cameras. But you can carry all them fucking guns upstairs?
I know.
Dude, he went to the room like 5 levels down prior to, like, a week prior to the shooting. He had everything planned out. And then, like, the room he first hired, it wasn't good enough, so he had to go higher, and that's when he found, that's when he smashed the window and fucked them all up.
I know, and the thing about that is those windows were like hurricane proof, so how can you just break through them that easily?
Well, I think you got a good point. They're super thick windows. Yeah, I mean, a bullet would bounce off. Most bullets would bounce off of them.
I know, a bullet would just do a small crack.
And they were hurricane proof. That just means they're bendy. It doesn't mean they're shatterproof.
And it's like he was at the perfect height, apparently, that, like, he was high enough so the coppers on the ground, their guns weren't good enough to shoot him as high as he was, but his gun he had was good enough to shoot everyone down on the ground.
Yeah.
But I don't think the shooting came from that room. I think it's been proven where it came from.
Yeah.
The shooting came from down on the one of the roofs down low.
Yeah.
Right down, like where the you know where the taxis drive through there in front. Right above that driveway there. Off of that, you can see. I mean, I drew a diagram of it. Of where it came from. It came from there, and it came from.
And they just made it look like he did it all, so that he could take the rap. You know, that's all. That's all.
Right. They didn't even have the right size shell casings up there in that room, or nearly enough of them. I mean, he would have had to fire like 5,000 or 6,000 rounds. You know how much brass would be in there in that room?
Yeah,
I mean, they would have to be walking knee deep in this shit.
I just had a random thought. You want to know that one of the greatest thing about all of us, you know, all of us, well, most of us Anons, we can be stoned as fuck, drunk as fuck, and still be smarter than most of the fucking population of the world, man.
Dude, you don't understand how stoned I am right now.
Yeah.
Your eyes are hardly open, Mason.
What?
Your eyes are like hardly fucking open. I think we could tell.
Oh, I'm so stoned.
That's a mask.
Wait, Jesse, I love your mask, bro. I love your mask. You know what you should do, man? You should put a big fucking J on the phone.
Well,
Yeah,
there.
Anarchy logo, fucking. I was gonna get one of them. I was actually gonna get that like shaved in the side of my head, like right there.
Wait,
Oh,
so
fucking
I don't give a fuck about the face, but check this out, man. Hang on. It's got intricate markings, man, all over it, dude. I've got Sumerian symbols, man, on this side. Wait, where is it? Here we go. Yep, that side. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got Sumerian symbols. It basically means it's N in key, so which basically means like Enki, man, like Lord of the world, like Lord of the earth. And I just found that symbolic because there was a crop circle. I can't remember exactly where it was found, but it's on the forehead, man. There was a crop circle found with binary code all around it, right? It was fucking huge. And it basically said EA Enki, right? So, and he's a Sumerian god that apparently walked amongst us, right? It was a transcendent soul or spirit that kept reincarnating, like Thoth, Hermes, all that shit. Apparently people are saying that they're all the one kind of person reincarnating. So I just found that symbolic. And I got one of the members of Nameless to make this for me, and she's taking donations right now. What was that for, Bull? Was that for
That's for Pantera.
Pantera?
He's in Puerto Rico, and
Right.
I had an aerial view of where he lives at. That he sent me. He sent me the coordinates before the hurricane came, in case I had to look for him and find him afterwards. And he lived like 2 blocks from the ocean, and a Category 5 hurricane hit right there, and it just fucked everything up. I mean, they're having a rough time down there, man. In San Juan, things are okay, pretty good, but all the roads are fucked up there, and they can't distribute the shit around the country.
I saw a live broadcast, Bull, from, I think you shared the video. I saw a live broadcast from someone that was actually there saying that they traveled around to every, pretty much the border, and they traveled around every different city around the border, and no one was getting any aid from FEMA or any government, agents of aid, even though that they were there. They were there in the main, is it what is it? Is it sand something?
Yeah.
The main point, but they weren't actually doing anything. They had all the supplies there, and they were just sitting there kind of using free Wi-Fi, drinking, and
Right. They couldn't be distributed because of the roads and the network to distribute it. They couldn't be distributed, so they were just sitting there. Basically, the shit was sitting there rotting or going bad or being stolen in San Juan, and not getting to the people that needed it because of that. And U.S. government could have done it. I mean, we have the military assets we have and everything else. We could have distributed that shit all over the island, but we didn't. We were just trying to. It was a PR thing. They wanted to just make it look like they were doing something. They didn't give a shit about them. They just wanted to make it look like,
Right.
And I mean, it's the same thing we see all the time.
I agree. I agree,
politics.
man.
It's politics, and that's all they did. They played politics.
They wouldn't even let civilian volunteers take it, man, to take it around to places, and they were trying, man, and they wouldn't even let them. No one could go into that place. They just would not let that happen, which is, to me, that's just fucked up. If someone's in a crisis, you'd be accepting all the help you could get, wouldn't you? Like, that's
this is not foreign aid. This is not foreign aid for the U.S. I mean, these people are Americans. They vote. It's it's not a state. It's a territory, but it's part of the United States. They're American citizens.
There is a shipping block. There is a shipping block, though, isn't there, or something in that regard?
Yeah, they can't. They can't. This was back at the turn of the century when they did this, and they have some law that says that nothing can be taken to Puerto Rico unless it's U.S. shippers. They can't go get it themselves. They can't do that. It has to be brought in by the United States.
Yeah, right. And so everything that's being brought in, everything that's being brought in is from the US, but they're not allowing access to it, basically.
Right. It's the same as people starving in the world. Yeah, there's millions of people starving, but there's plenty of food. It's a distribution problem. It's greed. Things like that. That's the problem. Exactly. There's enough for everybody.
I couldn't agree with you more, man. And there's enough resources on this planet, man, to cater for everyone. Every single person on this planet, man, can be catered for. There's an abundance of wealth, man, in nature.
There's
They talk about how crowded the Earth is, but the entire population of the Earth could live in Texas and not suffer from overcrowding.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a fact.
That's fucking crazy, isn't it?
There's enough vacant houses, man. There's enough vacant houses to nearly 80% of homelessness off the street.
Well, dude, we've been
vacant houses. You know,
we've been scarcity problem. There's no scarcity problem at all. The fact is that everything's been monetarized, right? And these corporations own a monopoly over the rest of us in everything.
Right.
And look at farmers of 40 years ago, right? They're wearing fucking, flannies and they're out in the yard like farming. Look at farmers nowadays, man. They're up in fucking chem gear and they're shielding themselves from fucking fuck knows what, and it's all Monsanto. They own the food source of the planet. Like you have to
look at these Monsanto things, and the guys out there in the field with all that protective gear on, like it's at a chemical spill or something, And I'm just going, fuck you. You think I'm going to eat that shit? You won't even touch it.
I know.
I mean,
everyone's still fucking eating it. They don't give a fuck. They're like, as long as they go to work and they get $1 and they go to the supermarket and get their food, they don't give a fuck.
Yeah, as long as they think everything's okay.
I don't get how people still can. Do you know what I mean? Even just in the past year or two that I've been looking into a few things, man, it was almost just reaffirming what I thought was going on. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not like I'm learning anything new. It's like I saw this shit happening and it's like, yeah, this is all affirmation. And that's not cognitive dissonance. Do you know what I mean? I'm looking at all sides of everything and I'm completely neutral. I don't believe 100% anything that I read or see unless I can prove it myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. It's the same thing with me.
Yeah, it has to be enough evidence there to convince you of it. Yeah, exactly. I've learned to question everything, man.
I'm going off on a tangent here, but that just reminds me of all this society in the world that believes that the moon landing was a hoax. Are you a part of that, man?
I don't know. I mean, hoax. I don't know.
I just got to say, man. I believe that we've been to the moon heaps of times, but they faked the recording because they couldn't show what was really there at the time, or they were preparing for failure. Do you know what I mean? And they just used that shit.
Well, I couldn't back then. I couldn't get a CB radio to work across town, but they could talk on these radios from the moon, and they could transmit video back and forth from the moon.
But dude, you have to admit, how the fuck do you really know what they were using? Like, let's be honest.
Dude, you can't tell me, man. Space is that fucking big, man. You can't tell me we're the only things alive. We're the only world, man, that exists.
I think to think we're the only ones is, I think that's arrogance to think we're the only ones. I agree.
Right, and just going back to the moon, just for a second. Don't you think, like, as I've heard many people say, and I tend to agree, it would be easier to just literally send a man to the moon, right? And like all the rocket fuel that's strapped to the bottom of that rocket, they're not just going into the ocean. There's enough fuel in there to launch them to fucking the moon, literally, right? Like that's what's happening. It would be easier to send a fucking man to the moon than hoax a man going to the moon, because there's all these unpredictabilities and like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, it would literally be easier to just send someone to the moon than fucking hoax it.
Well, what's that? You have a point. You have a point. I mean, I can't say that they did or didn't do it. I can't say which it is.
You got to look at what was happening, right? You got to look at what was happening. It was a race. It was a space race, wasn't it? It was between America and Russia, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. There was a Cold War going on, and we were trying to win that Cold War, and that Cold War was becoming a space race.
Well, okay. Now just let me say this one thing. The only reason we haven't been back to the moon since, right, or people are saying we haven't been back to the moon, is literally because we're not at war with Russia anymore, right?
Exactly.
The only reason we did all of that is because we're in war with Russia. Oh, America was in war with Russia. That was the only reason.
Yeah, but we landed on the moon like 15 times by now. They just don't tell us that shit, man, you know?
Well,
Exactly.
Like,
since then, we may have. I'm not, I can't say. Well, I do have a hard time believing that we did that. I do.
And there is no
And
bit of proof that we didn't. I mean,
All you need is money, dude. You give me enough money to all do it, but I'll probably be fucking shot down before I exit the Earth's atmosphere. You know what I mean? It's not hard. It's not hard to do, man. They can do
Dude,
it. All they need.
see,
They need.
one reason I have a hard time believing it is NASA. That alone, I have a hard time believing it because they don't tell us the truth about nothing.
Right? For that to be a hoax, 1 million different people would have to be in on that all around the world. Independent scientists, people that build the parts for the rockets, people that actually go up, astronauts, people that, work for Houston. There'd have to be 1 billion, like, all over the world, in on this, right? How the fuck do you keep a secret?
That's the same argument they made about 9/11, by the way. That's the same argument they made about 9/11.
Okay, well, I'm for
I hate
that
to
one.
shut you down. I hate to shut you down because I mean, it could be either way. I really agree with you, but it's obvious that 9/11 was bullshit, and everybody said that same thing. Everybody, you know how many people would have to be in on it? These motherfuckers will kill you if you don't do what they say. So yeah, you could get that many people to do it.
We have plenty of evidence, right, that 9/11 was an inside job. We have plenty of evidence that we went to the moon. Okay? So you've got to ask yourself, are you going to discern the photographs or the video evidence that come from the people debunking the moon landing? Or are you going to accept that and accept everything? Do you know what I mean? You can't just discern one and accept the other. You can't do that.
Dude, the landing on the moon was just a movie scene, dude. I reckon. Right.
I completely agree, man.
I mean, the flag was waving. There's no fucking wind in space. You can't have the flag waving around when there's no air or anything.
No,
That's a good
no. The flag, no, see, here's the thing. The flag wasn't waving, right? It has a rod over the top, and it was made out of, think of it like tin foil. Because that's essentially what it was, like, made out of. It wasn't even waving. It was just, like, stood in that position.
What about the people having two shadows? One in one direction, one going the other direction. Now, that takes two light sources, don't it?
And there was the reflection of the light in the glass.
The thing you don't realize, right? I've heard the argument 1 million times. There was no stars. There's no stars in anything. And that's literally because there's no atmosphere, right? And because of that, you're getting all the exposure of the sun, right? So the shutter speed it's just photography 101, man. You have to adjust the shutter speed for photography to expose the smallest amount of time because it's so exposed to the sun, right? So you're letting in the smallest amount of light, right, to that film. So you're like, and because of that, you're not getting the dim light of the stars. You get what I'm saying? If they pointed up to the fucking night sky and adjusted the exposure time to a long shutter speed and got those stars, you'd see them. Do you know what I'm saying? But everything in the foreground would be overexposed.
Yeah.
I'll be back in a second.
I don't know. That argument doesn't really hold much with me because I don't know. I don't understand the photography that well. So I don't know.
Way, dude. Like it's all just if you let in too much light, the photograph will be overexposed, won't it?
You know that picture of Earth that they gave us?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a fact. It's a fact that they faked that. That's a fact.
Right. And that was during the space race, right?
That was on the moon. That was on one of the trips to the moon. That they took that
How
picture.
did they prove that was fake?
Huh?
How did they prove that was?
Well,
By
sorry,
manipulating they did it on. They used one of the windows.
Yeah. So they used the window, right, to show what could have even just been like a bit of California or Hawaii, and it was a circular shape, yeah. And they blacked out all the rest, so it looked like a globe. Is that what you're saying?
Right. And that's what they're. Yeah, that's basically what they did.
That's bullshit. We've got a real planet of the Earth, man, from fucking ages away, man. You can see all the continents of one half of the globe.
I'm not a flat earther. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a flat earther. I just don't believe it's a ball because of NASA's picture because they're liars.
The Earth is not fucking flat.
It's not just NASA, man. It's not just NASA out there. There's independent corporations. There's all kinds of different people out there, dude. It's not just NASA. So you would have to be saying that all these different people are lying, and for what? They're pouring
I don't believe all the pictures were fake. I just believe NASA's work. NASA's original picture of the Earth, the first one. At one time, that was the only picture of Earth we had.
All right. Well, I'm not going. I don't know enough. I don't know enough about that to deny it, man. I'm not going to put it past them either. But all the photos that we have, all the composite images that we have from satellites out in orbit and shit, they're real, man. You can't fake that. Like, and as much as they admit that they are CGI, they have to be computer generated images for them to appear as a globe, because they're not capturing the whole thing as one.
Yeah. Yeah.
To be honest,
I agree with that.
And that's all these people's argument are, you know. And it's a bit flat when you can't disprove it. You know, so what? Let's go out to Antarctica and get a picture of the edge, man, of the flat Earth, right? But you can't, because there's apparently all these fucking ships and shit guarding it, which is absolute bullshit. Like, find one member of the crew or the family or fucking, you know, the ship manifest, anything, you won't. And that's impossible because they're saying that there's a ship every fucking 10 miles or some shit around. It's just all, I've looked into it, man. I've looked into it so much, dude. And it's such a load of shit.
Well, yeah, the flat Earth, the thing about flat Earth is that's one way you can know you're talking to a paid troll. They're talking about flat Earth, you know? So,
exactly.
I mean, you know, the ones that really push it.
I'm not going to name names, but, Bull, you know who I'm talking about here? Starts with M.
Yeah.
Yeah. So would you say he's a paid troll, or do you think he's just really dumb?
I think he's a paid troll. You know why? Because he's really dumb, and yet he can manage to be so disruptive. If he was that dumb, he wouldn't be able to be that disruptive, would he?
Right.
And what do paid trolls get paid for? They get paid for being disruptive.
You're thinking of someone else, bro. I'm talking about, it starts with M-A. Flat Earth.
You're gonna be talking about me, son.
Bull knows what I'm talking about. The initial is MJ.
Oh man.
That's what I'm talking about, bro. He believes in flat Earth.
His name. I know who you're on about, but I can't remember his name.
Who gives a shit?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that everybody who believes in flat Earth is a paid troll. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
Ones who are out there really pushing it. I mean, there's some people who just had it pushed to them and believe it. They're not paid trolls necessarily.
Right.
But that's one thing that paid trolls always do is they use the flat Earth.
Cable.
I'm not trolling. I love trolling the Nazis and shit like that. I love trolling it.
Yeah, you know, I'll give you a good example of how they can use the flat Earth thing. When I first started the radio show, I would go on Twitter, and I would take the call-in phone number for the radio show, and I would say, the Earth is flat, call, and put that number up. I would tweet that out there. I got more people who come listen to the radio show doing that than any other way.
Right.
That's how big
that's what I'm saying. That's kind of part of my point. You've got all these people feeding on that hysteria about it right now. People making YouTube videos, all this shit just for the views and the likes, because you've got all these people buying into it for some fucked up reason. And honestly, I think it's because humanity is at its stupidest point ever. We're at our stupidest fucking point ever. I don't give a fuck what anyone believes. You might think you're really smart. That's cool. You probably are. You probably are really fucking intelligent and really clever and you know what's going on. But a majority of the world, a majority of humanity are really fucking stupid right now.
Exactly.
At a time when we have access to more knowledge than ever before.
Yeah.
So
And
it's,
just, and it's the biggest time of disinformation. Also, you got to include that too.
right, and we're being lied to. I mean, at my age, and I've been lied to all my life, and then just now for a few years, I woke up and saw that they were bullshitting me all the time. And to be honest with you, I'm a little pissed off about it. I mean, you lied to me all my fucking life. And
Do you know what I'm pissed off about? I'm not just in America, and we're all following suit, man, and that's what I'm pissed off about. Everyone's flying into it all because they just want to get on, the winning side, or they want to, they just want to go with whatever seems to be working at the time.
Well, for all the people out there listening and watching, if you want to be on the right side, if you want to be on the winning side, join Anonymous.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, you can't join Anonymous. You cannot join Anonymous. You want to just wake up. You just come with us. You can't.
Exactly.
There's no joining. If you want to be anonymous, you are anonymous. You want to stand up
Right,
for
well,
something,
exactly.
come stand
Yeah, I
up.
agree.
It's not a group,
I agree
party, it's just an idea.
Yeah. You don't have to be a part of anything. You can stand completely alone, and you can still be anonymous.
Exactly. You can make your own thing.
You don't have to wear the mask. You don't even have to wear a mask to be anonymous. It's not
No, you
all
don't.
You do, man.
I did a post one time. This guy put out this video wanting a green mask. Everybody should drop the Guy Fawkes mask and wear them green masks.
I can talk about.
And I said, and I posted it, and I said, I'm not faulting the green mask guys, but neither am I faulting people for wearing the Guy Fawkes mask. Yeah, Time Warner makes a little money off of it when you buy them from most places. But
that's one thing.
Make money when we use the internet too. Big corporations make money when we use the internet too.
Yeah.
I mean, they make money off a lot of shit. You have to drop out of society and become a hermit somewhere if you're not going to support any corporations at all.
Wait, Bull. That's basically what we're advocating. Like, that's what we're saying needs to really happen before real change can manifest.
To what? To drop out of society?
Yeah, and boycott everything. Yeah, and grow food for yourself.
Boycott it. Yeah, but how are we going to do what we do without the internet? And yet we're supporting some big corporation when we use the internet and we pay our internet bill.
Go and use free Wi-Fi, bro.
For talking like that, like they're happy enough to do.
If you're getting down to the root issue, you got to take that seriously too. And you're right. What are we going to do? Just boycott the internet? That's a good fucking point. That is a really good point, man.
You have to make a decision on what to contribute to by paying for it.
I'm all for the internet, man. I'm all for the public internet with freedom of speech, no censorship. That's what I'm for. So I'm happy to advocate that and pay for that. I'm happy for that as long as it's not being fucking censored and it's not going to be changed.
Right. I get pissed off about the censorship myself. So, and they can sit there and kill a message if you have to be really creative to continue to get your message out, because they'll pretty much shut you down with their censorship. Yeah. And you have, that has to be dealt with. But the point about the internet is it's worth, we might support a corporation, but we take that and we turn it back on them. We can use it better than they can.
Right. And that's what I say about mobile phones.
They might have made the internet where they could spy on us, this, that, the other, but we turned all the people against them using it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, it's a trade-off. It's worth it. It's worth it.
A lot of people say that, like, Anonymous don't use social media and all that because it's supporting the government and the 1% leaders and stuff. Like, we have to... Huh?
Oh, I just said bullshit.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But we have to use the social media to make a stand. Like, that's how we get our message out, There's only so much we can do on the streets, and so far we can get ourselves out on the streets and do what we have to. But then there's the social media side where the internet's unpredictable, you know. You can put a video up one day, you might get 5 views, and you put up another video and you might get 500,000 views, you know. The internet's a fucking weird thing.
Fucking too much information.
So where are you people?
Yeah, we're all equals now. He left. We can do whatever we want. Oh, he's gone. We can do whatever we want. What do you guys want to do?
We do whatever the fuck we want, man. You're gonna have to come to Australia one day, Bull.
Yeah, I'd like to do that. Very much like to do that.
Australia is like awesome. Like,
see,
I'd love
you know what I want to see is, you know, I've heard a lot of stuff about Australia, but one thing that really fascinates me is when you flush a toilet and it swirls around one way. They say that down there it swirls the other way. I just want to check it out and see if it does.
Hey, do you want me to show you? Hey, do you want me to show you?
I've been trying to get Enki to show me. He won't do it. He won't flush it for me. He says it's too dirty. It needs to be clean. I guess it's got some tracks on there, you know, some heavy use.
Yeah, I don't care about my Danny. You ready?
Yeah.
Watch.
It does go the opposite way. Son of a bitch.
Is that good enough for you?
Yeah. Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate that.
Now you're saying an Aussie toilet with Aussie shit on it.
Looks pretty much the same, actually, except the way the water goes.
Now you don't need to come to Australia.
Well, I still want to, though, but I don't need to for that reason.
Take that off your bucket list.
There you go.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
I don't have a bucket list. I have something like a bucket list. I call it my fuck it bucket. You know, certain things I just ain't gonna do. And, you know, they go in my fuck it bucket.
Yeah. It's like people leave it. I don't know why people want to leave Australia, man. Like, we got the most beautifulest beaches here in the world. I think we got like the most 12 beautifulest beaches on the planet here. You know, we got the most.
They want to leave. I can tell you why they want to leave. Because the grass is always greener on the other side.
Not here, always green.
And they're going to get wherever they go and find out, you know what, I wish I was back home. And, you know, that's what they're going to be saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Well, I'll never leave Australia. Like, I will. I want to come over one day. I would love to come over to the...
To visit. To visit.
Yeah, bro.
All right.
Yeah.
Wait till he finds out what we did while he was gone. That's going to be funny.
Yeah. I'd love to come over for the 5th of November. I reckon that'd be awesome. Because you have like, the 5th of November over there are completely different to ours.
Yeah, there is a difference. I'll say that. I don't know if it's necessarily better. I'll tell you where it has a good one is London, man. London has a good one.
It's legit a riot.
So, yeah, they're good. I mean, where I live, like, I didn't even go this year. The year before last, there was like 12 people there.
Yeah, well, I'm at Mason.
It's the only way, like, even if there's 12, like last year, man, we had probably 300. This year, we had probably 80 people, you know.
Not even, we had like 25. I counted up in the picture of us on the steps, and there were about like 26, 25.
Oh, well, see, there you go. So, it all depends, man. Like, at least we're trying to do something. At least people are still out there trying to change something, you know?
Yeah, and like you said you wanted to do like next year you wanted to bring like fireworks and flares and fucking air horns and shit. But I mean, you're going to Tassie, aren't you?
I'm not sure. I got asked to go to Tassie, but I'm not sure. I think I'm going to bring Tassie over here, man. I think Melbourne is the one where we're going to make it big. I think we should just get all the anons from Australia to meet up and make one big one.
Yeah,
Instead of having
That would be better, yeah.
Yeah, because of Australia, I reckon we should, instead of having it in every state in Australia, we should all just get together and come to one.
Yeah, exactly. Like at the
one.
Masters year, I met people from Sydney that came this year, people from South Australia. I mean, they came all the way here just because they didn't want to do it in their own state.
Yeah, you know. And if we can get more people from over there to come here, we might have a chance of, like, succeeding in something, you know?
Well, the success depends on how you measure success, you know? So, I mean, if we expect all the bad guys to lay down their, you know, their game plan and go, oh, you guys win, that's not going to happen, you know? But make a difference? Hell yeah, we're making a difference. Yeah, we are.
Well, that's all we need to do. As long as we can make a difference, man, you know, that's our job done. As long as we can talk to one person, man, you know, and open one person's eyes, that's our job done. If we
I call it unfucking the world. Unfuck the world. That's what we should do.
Exactly.
And we are.
Of course, we can't unfuck the world all at once. That's what I say. And I even said in my other interview with the other one, you can only do one at a time. As long as you talk to one person, that's one person that's opened their eyes up, you know? You can't wake up everyone at once. It takes time to do this.
Right.
And that's what I say.
And then, you know what the difference is between the world and a pregnant woman? You can unfuck the world. That's terrible, man. You're gonna have to edit that out.
My missus is pregnant and she's just a crabby bitch.
Yeah, that happens sometimes. So.
Yeah, unfortunately it does, but like, it's good fun making them. It's not fun having them.
Yeah, well, that can suck, but it's good once you have them though too. So.
Oh yeah, I would change it for the world. They're amazing, but yeah.
I mean
really, brother.
That's where you can see. That's where you can see a good future. You know, when you look at a kid's face.
Yeah. Well, the other day, like, I get my kids into Anonymous and that. Like, my son, he's 6, and he knows like what Anonymous is about and stuff like that. And I put up a photo of my son kissing my mask with me wearing my mask the other day, and someone commented on it and said, "Oh, that's disgusting. How could you do that?" And that. I'm like, this is waking up the future here. You know, this is what the future is going to be.
Yeah, that's where the future is, exactly. Always
and
with everything.
And people don't like to see that stuff, man. You know, people hate seeing us waking up people. You know, I hate seeing people waking up and realizing.
Yeah, especially kids. But you know what? What gets me is the elites can get them in school and indoctrinate them. And they don't get pissed off about that.
Yeah,
you know?
Well, talking about that, like I said before, you know how I said we got gay marriage legal here?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, now they were in gay marriage, right? They haven't told they told the public, but they haven't. So they just want to legalize gay marriage, but the catch is when they legalize gay marriage, they want to teach it in every school. in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
So they want to teach gay marriage is right. Like, to me, if you're gay, that's fine. That's none of my business, you know. But you
Right.
should not teach a child about gay marriage or being gay or anything like that, you know. That stuff
Right.
should stay out of school and teach them something that's relevant, that's going to help their future. Not teach them about gay people. Like, what's that going to help them in their career, in their future?
Yeah.
You know, that's what gets to me, because I don't want my son, like, what is them teaching about gay people what's that gonna help in his future? You know, that's not gonna help his future.
Right. I agree. It's, you know, basically it's something that's gonna, if it proliferates, it'll destroy the family.
Yeah.
All I can say for it positive is a good way to control population. You know what I mean? You're not going to get overpopulated that way. So,
Yeah.
you know.
Don't get me wrong. If my kids turn out to be gay, I'll stand by them 100%. Like,
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I'll never push them away or anything like that because they're gay. They're still my baby, you know. So
right.
That's their decision. But at the end of the day, I don't want them to teaching that in school, you know. If they want to be gay, I want them to make that decision for themselves, not for the school to teach them that at a young age, you know.
Right. Well, see, now we had Obama. When he was president, he was going to make a third bathroom, you know, men's, women's, and then whatever's.
Yeah.
You know? And then the people who were whatever, because they could decide which they wanted to go into. They could go into any of them.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's kind of screwy, you know. So does that mean now that the men can go into the women's bathroom? No.
Exactly.
So I mean, you know what? Why would you want to do that? You know, it's kind of stupid. I mean, why don't you just tell them? You know, just go in whichever one you belong in. You know, I mean,
exactly, man.
Why do you need a third one?
Exactly. You go where you feel comfortable, man. Like, if you want to go to the males, go to the males. Like, there shouldn't be a thing to choose where you want to be, you know? If that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense.
So, yeah, it makes sense. I mean, you know, it's so out of the norm that it's bound to confuse people, you know? Not just kids. I mean, I confuse grown-ups, you know?
Yeah.
Where am I supposed to go to the bathroom at? There's 3 doors. It's like, let's make a deal or something, you know, on TV. You know, which door do I want? You know, how do you decide which one you want? You know? I mean, and that's just mass confusion. And some people decide this one, some decide that one. Nobody knows who belongs where. You know,
exactly.
There has to be boundaries. There has to be boundaries in life, and there has to be, you know, there has to be some rules. I don't have a problem with rules anyway. It's rulers I got a problem with. You know, I don't have a problem with there being rules. They just need to be sensible rules.
Yeah, exactly. And like,
we have those rules in the Ten Commandments.
The other thing we've got to, the other thing that got to know about the other thing about them legalizing gay marriage is like, as soon as they legalize gay marriage here, they put like gay. The only young kids are say about 15, 14 and that, but they're gay. You know, they're putting them kids on TV. Who in their right mind gets off on gay kids on TV? You know, who the fuck comes up with that shit? Who in their right mind would go, oh, look, we're going to put a 14-year-old gay kid on TV? You know?
Stigmatizing for life, yeah.
Well, not only that, could they have, like, okay, let's say they're trying to, broaden, you know, they're trying to broaden the acceptance of, like, gay kids, you know, don't ridicule them, don't bully them. Like, let's say that was their motive, right, for doing that. Let's just say that hypothetically.
That's the thing, man. There was nothing like that. If it was something like that, like a bullying ad about gays, That's understandable, but this wasn't, man. This was just like an ordinary ad for a TV commercial, you know. And
Oh,
it was a young gay boy, you know. And that shit
yeah.
to me is unacceptable, man. You know, who like
Well,
how do they?
I know.
Pardon?
I don't know. I'm not going to argue because I probably think I know a couple of gay people who would probably disagree with you. To be honest, man. They would call that. They would
It's
call
okay.
that. Hey.
Who in their right mind think it's okay to put a 12-year-old gay kid on TV, man? Like,
Saying, what was the ad for?
I can't remember, man. But I just remember.
So how was he gay? Was he like introduced as gay, or like what was he doing? What happened?
It was just him talking and him acting gay. He was talking to his parents or something, and then like there was nothing bad about the ad. It was just the fact that he was for it. They shouldn't be advertising gay children. To me, that's what it is, man.
I get you, man. I get you, bro. You think that this was like kind of pushing kids to like go towards that or like come out of the closet or
Exactly.
I think there was an agenda behind it. Yeah. Like,
Yeah,
I agree.
that's exactly what I'm.
I agree.
Yeah. You get what I'm saying? Like that shit shouldn't be acceptable, man. Like,
I agree, and they're trying to blur the lines between genders, man. Look at how many genders there are now.
I think that's
What's-
part of the attack on family. They're attacking the family, is what I think it is.
dude, now you can even choose the gender of your baby, man. You can choose. Yeah, you can choose the gender of your baby. How fucked is that? Why would you want to choose the gender of your baby? Like,
If you're rich and you want the chairman for your company,
why would you? You should love your baby either way, if it's a boy or girl, man.
So then you would be saying a woman would be unacceptable for a chairman of the company. That, you see what I'm saying?
wait, say again.
I say you said what if you were rich? It could be because you wanted to have a chairman for the company. So that would be like saying that a woman's not suitable for a chairman of a company.
Right. And I'm in total disagreement with that, right? But that's still the mental hierarchy that the males that dominate this planet have, dude. That's just the simple truth.
Yeah, but it's not okay. I mean, how would you like to turn the tables around and have it be a bunch of women that dominated the planet doing that to us? I wouldn't like it.
Well, honestly, to me,
okay.
it wouldn't make much of a difference at all to me. If it was women or men that dominated the planet, bro, I'm still someone trying to farm.
Some of the most successful companies on this planet are done by women. Self-employed women that have come from nothing. Ellen DeGeneres, bro, come from fucking nothing. She was so poor when she was a kid.
No,
Oprah.
dude, I hope you guys aren't thinking that I'm like, I totally agree, man. I'm in total agreement with both of you. I've got nothing against women. I think they're totally able to do anything that men are able to do intellectually, if not better, in a lot of cases. That's not what I'm not saying that at all, bro.
Sky, put that stick down. Just joking with you. That's kind of funny because it's something that gets turned into a game, really, kind of. About the gender thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we had somebody that was going to bring some more women onto the page. Yeah. And somebody tried to turn that into that's all we wanted was women on the page.
I know. I saw that. That was fucked up.
I mean,
all we were doing was trying to make it a less male-dominated place. We're offering a place for.
We were trying to level. Yeah, we were trying to level the field a little bit, was all. And
exactly.
You're just recognizing that it was being male-dominated, and we didn't want that,
Right. Because obviously we're about equality. We're about equality in everything. We don't see race. We don't see color. We see We see humans, whether you be female, whether you be male, whether you be fucking blue or green or purple. I don't give a fuck.
Whether you're
Right.
tired, whether you're not.
And that being said, it reminds me of the Earth, man. I don't give a fuck if the Earth is flat or round. That doesn't change shit for, you know, me or anything that's
So
actually
exactly,
happening.
I agree. I agree with you. I don't care whether it's flat or round. I mean, show me where that matters to me, and then I might have an opinion on it. I might try to form an opinion, but until then, you know, it doesn't matter to me whether it's flat or round. It's not going to change anything.
If the Earth was flat, that would make the people in control or the people that are fooling us or whatever some of the dumbest fucking people in the world, because it's completely fucking pointless. And they're running themselves completely broke for a pointless thing.
Would you even fucking world's flat, man? Like,
No,
you must
I know.
make some good fucking.
But see, that argument came about not because somebody wanted to convince us that it was flat, but they wanted to get our mind on something besides what we had it on, because they didn't like what we were doing with what we had our mind on.
Exactly.
They wanted us thinking about whether the Earth's flat or round.
You know, all it took was for these people that push these psyops and shit to realise how susceptible all these dumb people are all around the world to YouTube videos, man. That's all it took. And then they just started making fucking YouTube videos about a flat Earth, and people were fucking buying that shit up, right? And they've had to make a different fucking theory for every different fucking thing. Like, you know, like instead of gravity, they've got electromagnetism. But like, what does that mean? Does that mean that we're attracted to the Earth like a magnet with no metals involved? That completely throws out the idea of magnetism. So what is magnetism? Do you know what I mean? They're just making up all this bullshit.
It's what gravity's made of, basically. You know.
Exactly.
I
keep trying to say to them, you guys keep trying to explain what gravity is. Forget the word gravity. It's a force that keeps everyone tied to a center of mass, or everything tied to a center of mass. That's all it is. And there's at least two different types of gravity that we know of, man. There's type A and there's type B, right? So you've got type A, I think, I could be wrong, but I'm just, you know, you get the idea from what I'm saying. You've got type A that governs all molecular matter and shit. So like atoms, atomic structure, all that kind of stuff. They've all got their own gravity that holds them together. But then you've got larger masses and shit outside of the Earth's atmosphere that holds all, you know, say, planetary gravity and all that kind of stuff. And the sun gravity, man, which is, you know, I've seen flat earthers they put out a picture of the tennis ball and it's spinning with all the water fucking going out of it. And they're like, that's what would happen if the Earth was real, you know, if it was really a globe, which is a load of bullshit, obviously. Like, if anyone knows anything about science, you would know that that more represents the sun, right? And its gravity waves, right? Going around. And that's what all the planets are attached to. They're attached to these gravity waves going out and bouncing back in, creating these sweet spots or crescents, so to speak, for these planets and large bodies to sit in, you know, asteroids, whatever. They're all there. And they rotate around the fucking sun because it's all vorticular. Everything is vortex, right? And we're all following the sun going in a vortex through space.
Enki.
That's why you see vortexes in everything, man. Fibonacci spiral. It's that simple, man. I don't give a fuck what people try to convince you of otherwise. It's that simple.
Enki.
Yeah, I think a lot of it that way.
Man. Look, I don't know if you can see that. That's why I have this tattoo, man. The flower of life symbol, man. You can derive every fucking pattern, every fucking, you know, every shape, every geometric shape for everything from that, man. It's the symbol of creation. All information resides in that one symbol.
Yo, guys, I'm gonna cut you short. Oh, what happened?
We gotta wrap this one up anyways, so.
Yeah, for sure.
Alright, guys, I'm gonna leave you to it. I got visitors here. So,
alright, man. I'll catch you later.
Guys,
okay.
thank you. Thanks for the chat, guys. Peace.
Good to have you, bro. You're welcome.
Good to have you with us.